Jessica's got another good question. From your experience in many areas in life, your ministry and your work with couples, can you explain what is true love in this world? I know there are three when two human beings unite in holy matrimony and become one, right? God, the father or the husband and the wife, the three to get married. Is there a way to really explain this, or just a few are blessed enough to experience this blessing in life? I've read many books, asked many married couples, witnessed many couples love life, and watch and listen to what love is, but I still don't know how people know when it is true. Yeah. Whew. That is a difficult question, right? I think that's the $1 million question for humanity. What is love? I think everybody, deep down inside understands that they were made for love, but who to love and how to love and what love means, that's the real question of humanity. And so I'm not going to pretend like I know the answer, just fully, but I can give you some building blocks, some key components. Love, and this isn't just me making stuff up. It's definitely corroborated by my experience in ministry and things of the sort, but it goes all the way back to, the Greek philosophers and then throughout the Christian tradition. But love is first off, it is outward facing. If we're talking about an authentic human love, it points towards the other. Animals have a kind of, you could almost call like an emotion of love, in the sense that they like things, but that kind of love that an animal has is ultimately directed inwards. So, people talk about like, the dog coming up and giving you kisses, licking your face or something of that sort. The dog is licking the salt on your face, and it tastes good for the salt. So it may look like the dog is giving you kisses, but really it's the dog kind of serving itself. In the same way, the dog being home, all excited because its owner just got home, wagging its tail and all that. Well, if the owner, pretty much every time they walk through the door, pets the dog is excited to see the owner because it knows it's about to get pet. Or even, the dog could feel lonely. Loneliness is something that pets can experience. It's not like an existential loneliness, but, they want companionship. That's why dogs will kind of follow you around sometimes. They just want to be around someone. But really, that's not oh, I love this particular person. It's I desire to be something near something, or another person, another animal that I can trust, and that I know, wants what is good for me. And even some of the big heroic acts of animals where, they'll like dive into the lake and save the human being and things of that sort. That's still a kind of pack mentality with animals where, okay, if I need to preserve those who take care of me, because if I can preserve their life, well, they are a source of good things for me. And so still animals are that love is inward facing. It's primarily for themselves, and it can express itself in a lot of different ways, but it's inward facing. Love for humanity is necessarily, when we're talking about the kind of love that we're really made for, it's outward facing. It is something that we recognize that what we are and what we have is good, and we desire to give that to other people. And so it's fascinating. There's the command, love your neighbor as yourself. In order to love our neighbor in the Christian kind of love, we actually need to love ourselves. We have to recognize that what we have is good, and that goodness that we have can be shared with other people. And so first off, it's a recognition that we have something good to give, and then choosing to give that to the other person simply out of a desire for the good for the other person. Then there are some other elements. When we talk about a love that is a deep love, it also includes commitment. So, I talked about giving that good thing that we not just have, but also that we are to the other person. And so when we love, we not only want to give the things that we have, right? So we can give us their the time that we have, or the energy that we have, or the skill set that we have, or the material things that we have. Those are all ways to express love. But really, the deepest form of love is giving of ourselves. And so we can see that expressed most fully by human beings actually in the marital act, right? That's when the human being gives of themselves in a very physical way. Um, but that kind of giving of oneself, obviously, it's expressed most clearly through the marital act, but it is sealed by a commitment in which we say, "I will give myself to you forever until death do us part." And so, in marriage, you can see this very clearly, but you can even see this in friendship, where friends are really committed to each other. Um, when that commitment begins to uh, become present, that's when we can see love solidify and really become profound. Also, love desires what is good. So it moves the other person, and it causes both of the people who love each other to run towards a common good cause. And so you can see this, that uh, any marriage, whenever they have a common cause, uh, tends to do well. Uh, you can see this, sometimes marriages, especially um, that they get married and they start having children immediately. The marriage goes more or less fine all the way up until the kids are all out of the house. And then sometimes you'll see couples go through this real rocky period when the kids leave the house, because the couple's common cause was raising the kids, get the kids launched. And then once the kids are launched, they don't have that common cause anymore. And so it can create a kind of rockiness. Um, and then, the couple kind of has to figure out what is their new common cause. You can see this also in some of these really heroic couples that go and dedicate their lives to some sort of mission work or service, or Red Cross or whatever organization it is. They go out there and they just have this beautiful marriage in which they have a common cause, and they are pushing each other to grow and to achieve that goal. For us as Catholics, we say, okay, raising kids, that's a good thing, and in fact, that's an essential part of marriage, or it's one of the purposes of marriage. And going and doing service work, like, that's beautiful and good, and we should all serve. That's an important part of loving our neighbor. But really, the goal, or the common cause, we could say, of a married couple is salvation. We say it a little bit more broadly as mutual help, that the two should help each other in all of the parts of life, but ultimately to getting to heaven, because that is the greatest good that either of the two could achieve. And so what you have is that in love, you've got, it's outward facing, so it's not for our own good, but rather for the good of the other. And that recognizes that we are good, which then leads to a commitment in that desiring the good for the other person. And then lastly, it's for that common cause, that both of the people may grow to, in fact, be even more good and to achieve the greatest good, which in the Christian worldview is obviously getting to heaven. So hopefully that clarified that. If you have any more questions, definitely let me know. And it does exist. Just keep searching, keep fighting. It's hard. It's a hard world to live in, but that does exist. I've seen it.